Hey guys, Zach here, coming at you with another video. Obviously, you're not seeing my face. Let me quickly explain that before we get into today's video. Yesterday, I had a little bit of fun, a little bit of a day of fun, but I got majorly sunburned, so I really do not want to show myself right now. I look like Larry the freaking Lobster, okay? So, the next few videos might be very much like this, where it's just me talking in front of gameplay, which I know some people are probably okay with, but that's just why you can't see my face. And obviously I wasn't gonna make a video today because of it, as some people on Twitter know, but I decided I need to get a video out today. I need to keep productive, I need to stay busy. So that is that. But today we are going to be talking about Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time, and I'm going to also mention a little bit of my retrospective of the Crash series and what I think of what I've seen of the new Crash 4 gameplay. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the stuff that they showed over on the Achievement Hunters Let's Play channel, because that's where I saw the bit of new gameplay, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. So, without any further ado, guys, let's get into today's video talking about Crash Bandicoot. So like I said, before we talk about Crash Bandicoot 4, I'm going to talk a little bit about my retrospective of the series and my thoughts of some of the earlier games in the series. Of course, like everyone else, I grew up and I played the first 3 games, Crash Bandicoots 1, 2, and 3, obviously, for the PlayStation 1. And when I was younger, obviously, I had a very hard time with them because, you know, they're kind of hard games, especially the first one from what I remember. You know, sometimes it's not just the game, it's also the hardware it's on. You know, the PlayStation 1 was very hard when it came to platformers, so I didn't play the first 3 as much as I really would have loved to. I wish I more so grew up with those first 3 because of the fact that they're, you know, the first 3. But I never did grow up with Crash Team Racing. That one I just never played. Still haven't played it to this day. Not even the new one that came out about a year or so ago. But the Crash game that I actually most ended up growing up with, which some people might be like, what, really? This is the one you grew up playing? Was Crash Twinsanity. And I actually really liked Twinsanity. Because obviously, you know, it's about Crash and Neo Cortex really working together. And it's just a really, really fun game. And I think, like, the soundtrack is stellar on it because of the acapella of it. And I think, you know, I think it's an underrated Crash game. If there's a Crash game that I'd love to see get remade next, it would be Twinsanity. Just simply because it is very different from the Crash series, but it's also not. It takes risks without completely changing the formula, and not to mention it also is kind of a spin-off game since it's not a typical numbered Crash game. It's a side game. At least that's what I know of it. But Crash 4 is really, really interesting because they're obviously labeling it as Crash 4. They're labeling it as a continuation from Crash 3, which I think is brilliant because here's the thing, right? Like, kind of like I said, that Twinsanity is kind of like a side game which took risks. You know, like, literally, it's about time that the Crash series got a proper continuation, got a proper sequel from those original games from the PlayStation. And from what I've seen of the gameplay from, you know, Crash 4 on Achievement Hunter and other channels as well, it really does look like that it is a Crash 4. It's a pure continuation of what Crash used to be, with some new additions to make the gameplay fresh and not feel stale. And to me, this is what a sequel's all about. I always rant about Nintendo sequels because they always try to reinvent the wheel with their franchises, completely changing what made the franchise great in the first place. But then you look at Crash 4, and yes, it has some new things, which we'll get into in a little bit. But it also has a lot of the old things there, but it revitalizes it. It makes it feel more modern by adding that new stuff. The first thing I'll mention, obviously, are the new masks that you can wear as Crash. You know, I don't remember them all off the top of my head. There's the zero gravity one. I believe there's one that makes you shoot ice or something like that. Like, there's a lot of different masks that Crash can wear besides just Aku Aku. And it's great, you know, again, it adds to the gameplay of wearing these masks that make Crash power up a bit, and now they all have different little abilities that are pretty much, I believe, level specific. So, you know, a certain mask works well with a certain level, and it makes levels feel, again, more fresh rather than just repetitive. Because none of the levels in the first few Crash games really felt repetitive. It's just that you were kind of doing the same thing the whole time. You know, sure, you had some missions where you were running away from a giant boulder, or driving a car, or flying something, you know, like, yeah, different levels like that, but for the most part, you were running along, opening boxes, wearing Aku masks for invisibility. But now, you have new masks for different tasks, and I think it's a really, really cool addition. On top of that, you also have the Neo Cortex missions, which I think look really, really cool, especially because of how they blend in with Crash's missions. Now, I don't really know how the community feels about Dr. Neo Cortex's missions, but I think they look cool, just again, because of the fact that they kind of blend with Crash's missions, and it's not exactly the same as Crash. Neo Cortex controls differently. He has different things about him. And I actually really like Neo Cortex as a character. It actually kind of reminds me of Twinsanity, where, Crash and Neo Cortex, you're playing as both of them. It's not exactly as, molded together as Twinsanity, where you're literally playing as both Crash and Neo Cortex at the same time. But I seriously love getting to play as the enemy and seeing his point of view as he's trying to foil your plans. It's just really, really funny to see. Of course, a lot of people aren't a huge fan of the newer designs of Crash Bandicoot and Neo Cortex. Personally, I don't mind them. I think they look pretty good. I think Crash looks like a lot more almost cartoony. He feels a lot more like softer. Yeah, like in the Insane trilogy. I like the way that Crash looked, but I definitely like the way that he looks here too. I don't know which one I like more, really. Like, I'm not gonna pick favorites, but I do think the model looks good. And same goes to Neo Cortex. Like, some people are pointing out how much rounder his head is, but I mean, I don't mind it that much. Like, small little cosmetic changes like that don't really bother me. Kind of like how they kind of cosmetically changed Luigi and King Boo over the years. So it's just kind of subjective which Crash you think is better. Whether you have the nostalgia or the pure love for the Twinsanity one, which would be weird to have nostalgia for that because it's a 2-year-old game, but whatever. Or if you like the newer Crash 4 design. So that's completely up to you, and, I mean, if you don't like them, I mean, hey, like, I'm sorry that you don't like them, but I saw, like, a whole thing where there's a whole petition where people were so angry about the new Crash design that they wanted them to completely redo it, kind of like Sonic from, the Sonic movie. And I really don't think it's that bad. Like the Sonic in the movie thing, you have to admit, it was really, really bad. But here, I really don't think it's that bad. I think people are exaggerating that issue quite a bit. But yeah. Also, I heard that from the Achievement Hunter video that they really did keep the difficulty in check while also making an option for players who don't like the extreme difficulty of Crash, which is honestly really, really good. This is one thing I always hate about games nowadays, is that everything is so simplified to where it's like everything has to be literally explained to you, like literally like word for word how you do something, rather than just letting you kind of figure it out for yourself and letting you explore and do all that. Like nowadays, everything is so hand-holdy, and I really hate that in video games. And I think there probably will be an extent of that with Crash, but it does look like the Crash Bandicoot's difficulty will stay, while also offering another option for players who don't really like it. And that option is you can turn on and off lives. And I think that's super, super cool. Like if you want to turn on like a hard mode, you'll have a live counter. Once you run out of lives, it's game over, obviously. But the easy mode is you don't have any lives, so like, you can die as many times as you need, but you have a death counter, so you know how many times you've died, in the game. And I think that kind of stuff is just really, really clever. It's a clever way to make the game easier for the younger crowd who don't want to rage and be frustrated at a game, but it also keeps it traditional for the people who want that. And to me, Crash Bandicoot 4 is the way I think a sequel should be done. I mean, I haven't played it, so I can't say how great it is, but I am sure it's going to be perfect. And I think, honestly, Nintendo should take a page out of this book, and I really, really, really hope that they do. So, I guess that's really it for today's discussion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff down below. Make sure to click the notification bell so you're notified of when I upload a video. And also make sure to check out the merch store. There's some cool ZakPak merch up there. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say besides thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.